Okay. I think we're up. Let me see here. Okay, we are up. Okay, perfect. Okay. Um, Hello everyone. Welcome to the live stream. My name is Kevork Boyajian, and I'm here from Major League Crypto. And this is our first live stream. Yeah, so we're gonna be going over a lot of different topics today. But first, I want to give an introduction to myself. So I've been knowing about cryptocurrencies for several years now. It first started as like more of a lot of people I knew were into it, but more for techie reasons. They were just really interested about the code. But for me, I never got into buying Bitcoin originally. This was a couple of years ago because I was scared of government regulation. That was my number one thing. I was scared of government regulation. As of right now, because I started trading cryptocurrencies maybe around 6 months ago. And from that point, I was not scared of that fear anymore because it got to the point that it was so evolved, and the blockchain grew to such a big degree that literally every part of the globe had their hands in the cookie jar, if there's not a lack of a better term. So let me see right now, is the live chat working? Oh, hey Jack. Or is that Eric? So let's see here, testing. Is this working? Okay, the live chat's not working, but it's all good. I'll bring this up every once in a while, just to see if anyone has any comments. But let's get started with the news. So actually, Adi, are you watching too right now, or is it? Can someone tell me if the audio is good? Sorry, this is the first live stream, so I'm not used to the technical difficulties behind it. So okay, screw it. We'll keep going. Okay, so Bitcoin sells at $9.5 thousand, $9,500 in Zimbabwe as Venezuela gains 100,000 new Bitcoin miners. This is not surprising to me whatsoever, because okay, cool. Thanks, Adi. Okay, so Bitcoin sells at $9,500 in Zimbabwe as Venezuela gains 100,000 new Bitcoin miners. Like I was saying before, it does not surprise me whatsoever, because these are two nations suffering from intense hyperinflation. As their fiat currency dies, they're looking for other avenues, and most of them they don't have natural. Well, no, Venezuela has oil, but in terms of actually having a way of having a resource or a currency that they can use in their day-to-day lives without a banking system, Bitcoin seems like the logical solution to that problem. So let's read the article. Zimbabwe continues its fight for Bitcoin security as US dollar scarcity sees exchanges demand 9,500 per coin Monday. Analysis of local platform Golix.io reveals Bitcoin buy and sell rates, which topped $10,000 in previous days. Currently, traders can buy Bitcoin for $9,500 and sell at $9,380, which is a lot. That's like a 30% increase. So that's pretty interesting to see that high. But it does not surprise me because, you know, supply and demand comes into effect, and when you want something that badly, you'll do whatever it takes to get it. And they see the mania behind cryptocurrencies. Zimbabwe's nascent crypto economy. The troubled state of Zimbabwe's nascent crypto economy reveals the economic difficulties facing the country's population as inflation soars again and dollar cash shortages become ever more present. Vince Musue, a Harare-based economist, told local news publication The National, "The problem is that the exact opposite of what was during the hyperinflation. Then there was plenty of cash money, but no goods in the shops. Now there are goods on the shelves, but no money to buy them with. In May, the government admitted it was importing 10 million worth of greenback every week to shore up availability. Okay, so this shows that their reliance on the US dollar also. But this is a thing. Inflation, we all know Zimbabwe has very bad hyperinflation, and cryptocurrencies, like I said before, offers a phenomenal alternative to that. In more advanced Bitcoin testbed, Venezuela, meanwhile, it's Bitcoin mining that's hitting unprecedented levels, with reports suggesting over 100,000 citizens are now involved in the practice. While the subject of a state crackdown earlier this year using the national grid to squeeze extra profit out of the comparatively stable Bitcoin has proven too good of an opportunity to miss for those whose national fiat currency is practically worthless, like we said. Electrum's contributor Randy Brito, who named the figure, explained to the AFP at the weekend, whoever buys Bitcoin with bolivars earn money by increasing the price of the Bitcoin against the dollar and escapes inflation. So yeah, this is how they escape hyperinflation. Like we all know, Venezuela is in an awful situation right now. The president, Jose Maduro, awful. He's been screwing the country immensely, even though they have such a rich asset like oil. And from what recent news are, they're actually alliancing with Russia more, which is pretty interesting, because Venezuela and every single country that's been dealing with the U.S. has been finding a way out as this global economy is winding down. Because what we have to look at from currencies, right? They're all, at the end of the day, everyone compares their currency to the US dollar. We all know that it's the reserve currency of the world. And to Venezuela, this is no different. They had, for the longest time, they have to work with the US. They had their contracts with the US, etc., etc. When Hugo Chavez passed away, then, you know, things had to change. But at this point, they know they cannot resort back to the old system. It's just not possible. They cannot go back to fiat. They have to go something newer. And what tops it all off for them to go with Bitcoin, and the reason why they have this 100,000 new miners, Bitcoin miners, is because energy is so cheap in Venezuela that it's a logical conclusion that they would mine for Bitcoin. Their energy is practically nothing. It costs nothing for energy in Venezuela. So I could see right now in my brain that they probably have mines all over the place. People probably have a couple of graphic cards linked together to mine the stuff. How much they're actually making, that's a different scenario completely, because as we know, Bitcoin, as it gets more mined, it becomes more difficult to mine. So, and you have to compete with everyone around the globe to fight for that Bitcoin. So I don't know how much Bitcoin that they're making, but I feel like in their situation, because it's such a dire situation, because they're experiencing hyperinflation, they don't have food. A lot of them have to wait in bread lines, basically. That even if they get one Bitcoin in a long period of time, you have to understand that even if they get one Bitcoin, that's still immensely a lot more than they'll ever, the value that they'll ever get, besides if you compare it to if they want to escape to the greenback, if you want to make that comparison. So yeah, that's just an interesting article. It does not surprise me whatsoever. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, former Fed chairman Ben Bernanke believes Bitcoin unlikely to succeed. Oh, what a shocker, right? This is pretty interesting. So let's read the first paragraph and see what's going on. Undermining the government, now a recipe for success. Echoing the views of JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon, Bernanke feels that the decentralized nature of Bitcoin, which puts his outside government control, will trigger its downfall. Speaking at Swell, a 3-day conference organized by Ripple in Toronto, Bernanke said, Bitcoin is an attempt to replace fiat currency and evade regulation and government intervention. I don't think that's going to be a success. He attributed the current run-up in the Bitcoin price to its speculative nature, and felt that Bitcoin hasn't proven itself as a transactional currency. In his opinion, the government will eventually step in to prevent Bitcoin from rivaling fiat currency. This is big. This is a big comment from Ben Bernanke. We all know Ben Bernanke, and of course he's going to be saying this. He was at the Swell conference, and that was hosted by Ripple. So Ripple is the most popular centralized cryptocurrency, and basically it's an intermediary between banks to transfer funds. Basically the governments of the world, or at least the Western sponsored governments. So we're talking about Japan, America, Europe. This is the primary actors in Ripple, and in Korea too, I believe. And this doesn't surprise me, because they know the fiat system is dying. Our economic system is such a our economic system is in such a terrible state right now, and the global economy is winding down, like I said in the previous article. So the logical conclusion that we can make is, if you can't beat them, join them. So I'm thinking that Ben Bernanke and the rest of the helicopter crew at the Federal Reserve, they want to run their systems parallel to Bitcoin. This is why I'm such a big believer in blockchain technology. So to me, the decentralized nature of cryptocurrencies offer a way for humanity to express itself. It's a beautiful thing, because it's decentralized in nature. People have choice what they want to do, and it also proves its way for evolution to express itself, because the smarter ones are more affluent with technology and also understand economics. Will see the immense value within cryptocurrencies, because every other paper asset on the planet has debt basically connected to it. So Bitcoin is not debt at all. There's no debt involved in it, which I think it also drives the price of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies higher, because you're comparing it to fiat that has been ridden with immense debt, incalculable debt for such a long time, that the hyperinflation, even though we don't see in the US, has to manifest somewhere. And I believe that's manifesting within Bitcoin. And he's basically, Ben Bernanke is like, they're going to shut down Bitcoin. That's not the case. I do not believe so. I think China, Russia, and the East, they understand what Bitcoin is, because this is how I believe Bitcoin, well, Satoshi Nakamoto basically created Bitcoin, in my opinion, to reflect the psychology behind gold. So you need miners, you have to mine, you have to put energy and resources in order to get a certain amount of Bitcoin. It's not coming out of nowhere. It's not from one centralized force. So you could view this in kind of like a gold rush. Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are a gold rush right now. And so I believe that because this past couple weeks have been huge for centralized blockchains. Ripple, Stellar, the stuff that's coming out of the Gates Foundation, all the stuff has been coming up for centralized coin, and it's not a coincidence. This has been happening for the past couple weeks, and it's been blowing up like crazy. So I don't think they're going to shut down Bitcoin. I don't think China will allow them to. They might try to do some stuff within the US to make it more regulated. But I think that'll only drive the price up higher, because more people will see the weakness from the US. And regardless if China and Russia want to use this decentralized nature of Bitcoin to hijack it, so they could completely centralize the cryptocurrency space. This is where I disagree with a lot of people. I'm more optimistic. I believe that the force of cryptocurrencies is such a strong thing, and for Bitcoin to be the first blockchain to be out, it gave a lot of people the hope that this decentralized future could become a reality. It's really the libertarian web dream, in my opinion. So what I believe would happen is, as the West continues to create their very centralized systems, so you have the Ripples, the Stellars, etc., and sooner or later a Federal Reserve coin will probably come out once the U.S. knows that their U.S. dollar is finito. So what they'll do is, my opinion is, they're going to take the cryptocurrencies. I mean, they're going to tell everybody, right? You have your dollars, right? You exchange them in, you'll get your Fed coin. So, but this is the catch, right? Because they know that there's so much debt that they have to cut corners somewhere. So they'll say, okay, you'll give us, for every $1.7, $1.70 you give us, we'll give you $1 of Fed coin back, or one Fed coin in return. So automatically that solves two things for the US government. One, it gets everyone onto a blockchain, and two, they could devalue their currency. So it's a very smart thing they're trying to do, but they understand that they're trying to still shun Bitcoin. And as of right now, China and Russia are running their systems completely parallel with Bitcoin. Because everyone's like, okay, so I spoke with Andrew King, if any of you saw that video, and one of the main points he was talking about is, what if the US government regulates Bitcoin, or what if they're trying to shut down Bitcoin? What if everyone tries to shut down Bitcoin? I don't think so. And he's trying to use the main case that the ICOs was a precursor to if Chinese government want to shut down Bitcoin, or if the Russian government want to shut down Bitcoin. I don't believe that's the case, because if you look at China's actions to Bitcoin miners, it is not negative whatsoever. Actually, it's quite the opposite. If China was really against Bitcoin, right, they would shut down the Bitcoin mines, because the Chinese government, or whatever operating group sees electrical systems, the power grid, see where energy is being transferred to, they would see so much energy being transferred from the grid to these warehouses, where they literally have thousands of computers lined up and mining Bitcoin 24/7. They would know that. So if they were truly against Bitcoin, they would shut it down. So I don't think this FUD about China and Russia, I don't buy into it. Same thing as I see with Russia. Russia just made the crypto ruble. Yeah, some of their central bank members have come out saying Bitcoin is very dangerous, but you don't see any news of major Bitcoin mines in Russia being shut down. I just think right now Russia knows they can't stop it, or they just know that the way gold was in the old world, that it served as a retention of value. They see Bitcoin serving that same psychological purpose, and they want that to create new wealth for people so they could tax that wealth. So it's a win-win on both states. On both parties. So as gold, as basically Bitcoin, which is the digital gold, more people have it. To use it in Russia, they would have to transfer it into the crypto ruble, and that's the end goal. But that's not a bad thing either, because as of right now, I think Russia said that they're going to do a 13% flat tax on the crypto ruble, which is awesome. In my opinion, 13% I think is a great number if they stick to that, and also incentivizes Russians to be a part of the cryptocurrency space. So that's another thing to keep in mind. But yeah, my personal belief as of right now is that if any government tries to regulate Bitcoin or decentralized coins, because at the end of the day, they're protocols, anyone can make it, and they're all open source for them. All the big ones are open source, like Bitcoin. If you're transparent and you're open source, people have the choice. And if there are better options, this is the internet. This is the future. People could literally list up a ton of code saying this is how we can improve it. They can make their own coin if it's better. But to me, I think coins like Litecoin and Bitcoin will be the ones that'll stay for a long term in terms of cryptocurrencies. They're outside the government because they've been established the longest and they have the biggest blockchains out of all of them. While other coins, other big coins, are not going to be actual currency based coins, so they won't advertise as money because their protocol isn't advertised as money. Yeah, you could transfer funds via the tokens, but those tokens are more necessitated for the function of that specific blockchain. So for instance, Golem or Elastic, both of them are for tokens of computing power. So basically you could use it. This is their goal. It's not fully implemented yet. But once again, a lot of them were ICOs originally. ICOs are just startups, so they're just taking the money, they're giving out tokens, and whenever their product is done, then you can use the tokens for the services. Those services like Golem and Elastic are basically, if you want to do 3D design, which takes a lot of computational power, then you could use your tokens. So some guy in Korea that has like three GTI 1080s linked up, they could send you the computational power right there. And I think that's a beautiful thing. So that blockchain application can be, that blockchain idea of tokens could be applied to almost every single type of asset or function that humans experience day to day, which is awesome. I'm very excited for that. Not just those coins, but the potential blockchain applications for every part of human logistics possible. So let's read the next paragraph. Blockchain, not Bitcoin. While dismissing the possibility of Bitcoin becoming a successful alternative for fiat currency, Bernanke was all praise for the blockchain. As reported by Fortune, Bernanke said, "The Fed, the Bank of England, and Japan are very supportive of these technologies because they'll improve payment systems." He praised Ripple for working with regulators and observed that the blockchain-based system might have prevented hackers from robbing 80 million from the Central Bank of Bangladesh. Okay, here we go again. Ripple is just an intermediary. These centralized coins, these centralized blockchains, I do not call them blockchain. They're not blockchain. Blockchains are inherently decentralized. My word I give them is crock chain, like crock of shit. They're just not, there's no point to it. It's just a glorified digital ledger. The only way you could really give a value at that point is if you back it by a commodity, either some like oil or gold. So this is not surprising. This is what they're already doing. Ripple's already doing these systems. But if you see Ripple's price is a lot more stable too, because it's inherently manipulated because it's centralized. You don't own any of that. It's crap, honestly. So and we'll get to Stellar, which is Ripple's brother, in the next couple of articles. Actually, I'll bring it up here for the next one. Let's see here. Yeah, so I'll get to Stellar, which is basically Ripple's brother. What Ripple is to banks, Stellar is to people. I didn't really buy into it, but I knew that might have been a good way to make money, but I'll get into that story later. So let's finish up with this last paragraph. Flip-flop views on Bitcoin. Ben Bernanke's views on Bitcoin have changed over the years. In 2013, during a state committee hearing, he called for virtual currencies' innovative payment systems and said that the Fed had no plan to regulate them. In 2015, he said that Bitcoin's volatility and anonymous nature were serious problems. The market, however, seems to be ignoring Bernanke and Diamond's views on Bitcoin and pushing it to scale ever higher peaks. Okay, so this is the thing. Why is it going up to ever higher peaks, right? Bernanke and Diamond, why are they wrong? There could be two reasons for that. My two main suspicions are, one, China, Russia, and the East are using Bitcoin as a segue to their new global economy. That's the first reason. And the second reason I have is it just, once again, people are just done with this debt-ridden fiat system that we are a part of. So let's go to CoinDesk and let's pull up that one Stellar article. No. Oh, sup, Haji. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, if you guys have any questions, pop in the chat and I'll try to answer a couple of them. No, CoinDesk. Okay. Yeah, the OBS is making my computer slow. Sorry about that. We're going to get to all these articles. I just want to get to Stellar because we're already on the topic of centralized coins. Where is that article? Upside. Okay. Here we go. Stellar. Very bittersweet with this coin. It's a centralized coin, so I'm not fond of it at all, really. So my story with Stellar is I heard about the coin before, and what really got me pretty interested into that I might be able to invest in maybe for the long term or medium term, because I don't think any centralized coin will make it in the future besides besides government cryptocurrencies. So crypto ruble, crypto yuan, crypto US coin or Fed coin, whatever you want to call it, and coins like Ripple at that point maybe would not serve as much as a function as it would, because at that point Ripple, this is the thing, Ripple might not have really a long-term future, because once all these governments adopt cryptocurrencies, natural cryptocurrencies, then there might not be an inherent point to it. I think more of the blockchains that would make it that are centralized in the future will be more things like identification and health records and stuff like that. But let's see what's going on with the Stellar Lumen. The price of the Stellar's Lumen cryptocurrency is fading fast. Yeah, because it was a pump and dump. That's why. After rising to 5 cents last week, the value of the native token that runs the Stellar protocol is down 36% from that recent high today. At press time, the Stellar US dollar XLM/USD exchange rate is 3 cents and a third. Week on week, XLM is down 8.3%, while on a monthly basis, it's up 177%. Excuse me. Okay, that's nothing. Almost 8.5% down. That's nothing in the cryptocurrency market. That happens every day. It goes up and down, 8%, 10%, etc. And the monthly basis up 177%. Okay, so what? All these coins, most of these coins that are bigger do that a lot. Like within a month, they have their boom, they have their bust, especially the centralized ones, while the more decentralized ones keep going up. The decline follows XLN's rally of more than 100% on October 16th after news hit the wires that IBM and Stellar were testing the cryptocurrency for cross-border payments. Okay, I've been hearing about this IBM testing with Stellar like 4 months ago. 4 months ago, there's rumors IBM was working Stellar. Because the guy who made Stellar was, I believe his name was Jed McCaleb. Jed McCaleb was the guy who made eDonkey, which was I believe it was the first peer-to-peer network. So the guy had some background, but he was also the guy behind Mt. Gox, and we all know how Mt. Gox ended. So, you know what? I'll give him the benefit of the doubt back in the day, and even though I heard about the Mt. Gox thing and like I started seeing red in the sky, I'm like, okay, this might not be good for a long-term solution, or I mean, it might not be a good long-term crypto. But I was like, screw it, maybe I should hold on to it. And I held on to those bags for 2 months. I hodled the shit out of Stellar because I was waiting for the IBM. I was waiting for those IBM news so I could ride it up and sell it. But the reason why I sold it is because several months ago, Stellar announced that they were doing a major giveaway of tokens. I mean, of coins. Why the hell would I ever hold something if they're giving away millions of coins out for nothing? Nothing. It was, how does that inspire confidence in me to do it? But the one day I didn't stay up to 2 a.m. Of course, at 12 a.m. last Sunday, Stellar blew up like crazy. It started around 12 a.m. Central here in Chicago, and it rode up to around 4 a.m. While at that point I believe it reached up 230%, then it dipped back down. So I missed that wave. It happens. But once again, the West is more behind these type of coins, these centralized coins. Not a fan of it. So let's see what else this article says. The decline follows XL. You see, they spell XLN wrong. Good one, CoinDesk. Currently, the project is designed to handle South Pacific currencies, Australian dollar, the New Zealand dollar, and the Tonga Ponga. Through Stellar's Lumen, customers will be able to trade fiat currencies without even touching the cryptocurrency. Okay, you see, like I was saying before, Ripple is that intermediary between the BOJ, Bank of Japan, U.S. banks, and also the Bank of England. So basically, this is the Stellar protocol serves that same function for fiat-based currencies. But once again, why would you need that? Why would you need that if we could just exchange cryptocurrencies back and forth? If our future is purely crypto, especially decentralized crypto, these type of protocols, there's no point to them. It's kind of just like an extension for banks to hold on a little bit more power while they still have this position of strength. Still, while the market euphoria in response to the news is calming at press time, the price of lumens is holding above the key support level of a little over 2.5 cents. What does this mean for traders ahead? Price action analysis suggests the decline from 5 cents could be a bear trap, and there's a potential for another boost if support holds. Okay, this kind of looks like a cup and handle. So I wonder. Yeah, it might make another move up, but once again, same thing with Ripple. Ripple boosted up. It tried to recover a little bit shortly after, and it was on a decline. A slow decline because there's just no hype behind it, because it's just used between, it's basically an ancestral, like incest based actions between banks, like literally just back and forth, banks just transferring fiat. So of course there's not gonna be that much price increases of overall like Bitcoin does, because it's basically glue. If I want to say something is basically glue, it's glue for the banks. It just makes transactions for them a lot quicker, and it's on a ledger. They love that stuff. So yeah, Stellar will be weaker than Ripple because it doesn't have the backing of banks. It has a backing of people, and people for the most part go to Bitcoin and other decentralized cryptos, while banks, they can just keep funneling more fiat into this Ripple to keep it stable, because they want Ripple to be in a position of strength. They're really going all in. Like we said, Bernanke, a lot of these other major players, they love Ripple. And Stellar just does not have as much banking. It's Ripple's younger brother, but once again, it's the younger brother, and the older brother calls the shots for the most part. It'll bully it, but I personally believe it's not a coincidence that Stellar's news came basically at the same time of Ripple's news, and Centralized. This is why I named this live stream also, what was it? Centralized blockchain news, because all these corporations or banks, whatever, they've been pushing for centralization very strong recently. I don't know if it's out of fear. I don't know if they've been planning this. They've probably been planning this, but they're pulling the trigger now to really push this centralized game forward. But I don't think it's working as well as they think that it is. I don't think that it's working as well as they think it would have worked. So we'll see in the future how this plays out. So let's say view a rebound. No. Okay, so let's go on to the next article. Okay, actually no, let's check into Bitcoin Gold. Okay, so I don't know if you guys know, the Bitcoin Gold split is happening in, I believe it's gotta be half an hour now. Okay, so Bitcoin is splitting. This is happening. So like Bitcoin Cash a couple months ago, Bitcoin splitting again. The major difference, so let me pull up the Bitcoin Gold countdown, because I think Bitcoin as of right now is 5% down. Pretty standard for when the fear and FUD of forks happening. But I'll tell you why Bitcoin Gold is not as much of a big deal as Bitcoin Cash was. Okay, let's check this out. Let's first see when the split's happening, so we can check the pricing too. Okay, Bitcoin Gold hard fork countdown clock. Okay, we got 42 minutes till the split happens. Bitcoin Gold plans to split off from Bitcoin at block 491,407, and we're currently at 491,369. Okay, so Bitcoin Gold, what's the difference? Bitcoin Gold, from what I've read, is not trying to compete with Bitcoin. Basically, what the biggest difference between Bitcoin Gold and Bitcoin is Bitcoin Gold wants to change how the mining is done. So the qualifications to have your computer mining Bitcoin Gold is that they won't allow ASAC based computers, AISAC computers to mine Bitcoin. So that changes the way to mine Bitcoin. And it's really key that the people who propose Bitcoin Gold say they don't want this competing with Bitcoin, which that's a crazy contrast if you compare it to Bitcoin Cash, because Bitcoin Cash was presented to be a Bitcoin competitor, or they're trying to claim to be the real Bitcoin, which is BS. But yeah, and okay, and this is a big thing. I gotta say this: Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Gold. Okay, any fork that you that's coming up, you want to pull your coins and put them into a wallet or an exchange that supports the fork, the hard fork. Because what's happening is, and most people have no idea, actually I won't say, yeah, I would say most people have no idea that, or they don't think about this possibility. Why is it that Bitrex, right? Bitrex does not support Bitcoin Gold, okay, or didn't support Bitcoin Cash in the beginning? Why is it that Coinbase doesn't support Bitcoin Gold or Bitcoin Cash, right? Who's holding the private keys, right? Because how it works is your private key. You have one Bitcoin, right, in your wallets. You own that private key. Once Bitcoin Cash came in, right, after, we'll say around a couple of days, once the code is out there, you'll be able to withdraw that Bitcoin Cash, and it's yours. It's in that wallet. It's connected to your private key. That's how it works. Because the way the blockchain works is that the blockchain, it splits at a certain point. That's why they call it a hard fork. It's completely going off. It's branching out completely. But it still maintains all the previous history of it, so it knows which accounts to assign how much of that new Bitcoin Cash or Gold or whatever that new version of that cryptocurrency is. But did no one think Coinbase holds all the private keys, right? Bitrex and all these exchanges hold the private keys. So that means those thousands and thousands of Bitcoin held there, right? Yeah, you keep your Bitcoin. They're not stealing from you technically, but they are stealing from you. They have your private keys, and they're getting thousands of Bitcoin Cash and thousands of Bitcoin Gold for completely free because they don't support it. They tell you about it, right? So probably the legality behind it is you can't do anything about it. If you keep it there, it's ignorance. You're ignorant people, they just don't know. They leave it there, and they're technically getting robbed. And yeah, Coinbase. How much money do you think Coinbase made when the Bitcoin Cash fork happened? They probably made a killing. Same thing with Bitcoin Gold. All those unsuspecting people, right? Maybe they didn't even hear about Bitcoin Gold. They just keep it there. The fork happens, and right when the fork happens, it's payday for freaking Coinbase and these other exchanges because they hold your private key and. Nothing's stopping them. They have the private key. Nothing's stopping them for saying, all right, we'll just pull the gold and they could keep the normal Bitcoin. So yeah, it's a very interesting situation overall. I hope outlets and more articles will come out saying, hey, don't trust these people. Get an Electrum wallet, hold your private key somewhere, and basically take responsibility for your stuff, hold the private key, and get what you deserve, right? Because it's your Bitcoin. You should own your Bitcoin. So if something happens to Bitcoin, either it's good or bad, or this applies to any other decentralized cryptocurrency, you should get what happens to the coin. So if you don't like Bitcoin Gold and you think it's gonna make Bitcoin, or if you think Bitcoin Cash is better than Bitcoin Gold, than regular Bitcoin, keep the Bitcoin Cash and sell your Bitcoin if you're a truly believer in it. If you like Bitcoin and you hold it and you're like, all right, I want to have Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Gold. Back then you held your Bitcoin. You're like, I'm just going to keep it in this Electrum wallet or any other wallet. Then you'll get the Bitcoin Cash. Then you can hold it longer and keep your Bitcoin Gold, and you have all three. You have a 1-to-1 ratio of all those three, which is awesome. Or if you want to keep them and sell them and just stack up in your Bitcoin, regular Bitcoin, then you could do that too. There's a lot of ways you could prove that you could. There's a lot of different ways you could approach that situation. But as long as you're educated in which one you like more, then you could make the right decision for yourself at the time. So yeah, Bitcoin Gold, it's not marketed to be a direct comparator with Bitcoin, which I think is good for Bitcoin, and I think it's good for Bitcoin Gold. So we'll see how that turns out. But as of right now, how much is Bitcoin? It's gotta be, yeah, it's 5,700. So it's gone down 4%. I think it was down to 5,650, and it bounced back up. Okay, yeah, but let's talk about this article too as a segue. We'll keep the countdown here too in the other tab. Okay, Trezor issues statement about Bitcoin Gold, warns of unfinished code. I love Trezor wallet. It's a good wallet. It's a great hardware wallet, encrypted. Love it. But this is the issue. Once you have these forks happening, right? It's not guaranteed that these hardware companies are going to be able to support it from the get-go. It depends how far back the fork has gotten planned. There's a lot of different factors to it. Excuse me. But yeah, it's just, you have to be aware, you have to be up to date with it. That's why I always tell people, if you're going to get into Bitcoin, you're getting into anything cryptocurrency, you have to be on it. And from here on out, I'll be live streaming so often that I'll be going over the news as it happens. But yeah, Trezor issues statement about Bitcoin Gold, warns of unfinished code. Red flag right there. It's a great wallet, but if you have to pull it, put it somewhere else, put it on an Electrum wallet or some other type of wallet, and get that Bitcoin Gold if you want it. So let's read the article. Satoshi Labs, the makers of the hardware wallet Trezor, made a statement today about the upcoming Bitcoin Gold fork. According to Satoshi Labs blog, users with Bitcoins stored on their devices will be credited with the appropriate amount of Bitcoin Gold. However, the Trezor software will not support Bitcoin Gold, and users will not be able to send or receive the new currency. Okay. Okay, so you will get it, but it will not support it. So that basically means you can hold the private key. I don't know what method you would have to do to extract the gold. Most likely you would have to take the private key and put it elsewhere into a different type of wallet to receive the gold, not directly from the device, which is a little bit of a hassle, but it's not the worst thing that could happen, you know. At least it's being credited to your private key, which is awesome. What about Bitcoin Gold? Satoshi Labs points out, as Cointelegraph also has, that Bitcoin Gold is not actually Bitcoin. Rather, in other words, Bitcoin Gold is an altcoin, using Bitcoin's history similarly to the case of Bitcoin Cash. Trezor's wallet software will not support Bitcoin Gold because Bitcoin's gold code base at the moment of the writing incomplete. Most importantly, it lacks replay protection. For this reason, Trezor wallet would not support Bitcoin Gold, as it would endanger your Bitcoins. So, you know, I don't know the software behind Bitcoin Gold. That's more of their territory. But if it causes concern in terms of security, that's cool. I'm for that. I'm all for security within that respect. But at least you're telling you there's a way to retrieve it, which is key, because you could still get it back. Because once that happens with exchanges, you will not be able to get your Bitcoin Gold. Replay. Well, it's not even your Bitcoin Gold. It's just the Bitcoin Gold on your exchange, under your account in your exchange. So replay protection is vital, and any fork currency. Satoshi Labs block continues. Replay protection prevents a transaction on the Bitcoin Gold chain from being retransmitted on the Bitcoin chain and vice versa. As Bitcoin Gold is a fork of Bitcoin, the transaction format, the signatures, etc. are the same. A transaction on one chain could be copied to the other chain and will be valid, possibly leading to unintended losses of coins. Okay, so that kind of explains it. So basically, their fear of a possible duplication of the transaction from the transaction format and the signatures. So yeah. So let's say, but I need them now. If for any reason you need to send Bitcoin Gold from any of your Trezor addresses, you may do so by importing your seed, like I said before, into a third-party wallet. However, there are extreme consequences according to the announcement. Okay, let's see what these consequences are. Without replay protection, if you send your Bitcoin Gold, you will also send your Bitcoins away, leading to a loss of coins. If you import your seed into a malicious wallet, the attacker can access all your coins, including other altcoins saved under your seed. By importing your seed into any third-party wallet, you're compromising the security of your seed and thus your Trezor. Okay. Okay, so basically, it seems like this could open up a lot of different consequences if you want to pull it. But I guess this is pretty interesting, honestly, because I don't think Trezor has been in this situation before. Because I don't think Bitcoin Cash was as bad as this Bitcoin Gold. It might be because how the software is, but okay. But I would say probably within a week, because usually it takes a week after for the community to come out with a safe solution to withdraw the gold. So if you do have your coins in your Trezor wallets, at this point, pull it, because there's not much time left. Or if you're gonna keep it on the Trezor wallet, wait a week or two to see when there's a very stable solution to retrieve the coins from the wallet. So similar to Bitrex's stance. Okay, let's read this. Yesterday, Cointelegraph reported that Bitrex was taking a similar stand on the upcoming fork. The exchange will take a snapshot and preserves users' Bitcoin Gold. Okay, but will not immediately support trading of the currency. According to the full statement made by the exchange, Bitcoin Gold does not currently have fully formed consensus code, implemented replay protection, adequate code for testing and auditing, publicly known code developers. Bitcoin Gold code base also contains a private pre-mine of 8,000 blocks. Pre-mine, it happens, 100,000 Bitcoin Gold. Please be aware that if a market does open, there's a possibility the developers selling their pre-mine BTG on the open market. Yeah, that's a pretty big, yeah, that happens, you know, so that's also a good reason why. Because of the issues pointed out by both Bitrex and Satoshi Labs, it's likely that most other exchanges, web wallets, and the like will adopt similar policies with respect to their handling of Bitcoin Gold. Everybody wants users to receive the fork coins that are rightfully theirs, but nobody wants to risk users losing the much more valuable Bitcoins that are attached to the same address. It remains to be seen whether Bitcoin Gold will implement replay protection. Since the code base is not yet complete, the currency is not expected to officially launch for some time. The date everybody's talking about is October 25th. So today, and is not actually the date the Bitcoin Gold network will come online. Rather, that's the point where the two networks will diverge once the software is finally released. Okay, so I guess they are going to give you the Bitrex is going to give you the Bitcoin Gold. I did not see that. I thought they made the comment that they were not going to support it completely. So I guess it was just like they're going to support it from the beginning. They're taking a similar stance as Trezor, which is interesting. So that's good for them. Because last time for the Bitcoin Cash fork, I actually had to transfer my funds to Kraken to get it. But similar with Kraken, my story with Kraken is that once I had my Bitcoin in Kraken, they credited me with Bitcoin Cash, but I was not able to retrieve the Bitcoin Cash for I think around 4 to 5 days. But right now I'm not even holding Bitcoin, so I'm not getting the Bitcoin Cash. I mean Bitcoin Gold. Okay, any questions? Oh, Monero. Monero's good. So Chris Rofan, thanks for hopping in. So let's really talk about Monero. Monero has been around for a while. It's one of the older altcoins that have been around the market. I'll do my own section. I'll come on live maybe next time. I'll do a whole segment on private blockchains and cryptocurrencies. But my view with Monero is it's good. It's good stuff. They have a way of obfuscating obfuscating your address by sending it to multiple different nodes in their network to make it private. But I think they have good competition now with Verge, because Verge is a Tor based cryptocurrency and has an I2P client. So for me, that's also a great thing. So if there's a way that Monero can adopt that Tor system that Verge has, or Verge adopts that multi-node system, I don't know really the term behind it, but it's kind of a way they obfuscate it by doing something with their addresses, by sending all over the place. But if either of those coins adopt the other person's technology, if there's a way to do it and combine them together, that one coin will be king. Because at that point, from what I read from forums from coders that try to be as anonymous as possible, if there's a way to combine both of them, if it is possible, then it would be the most private cryptocurrency ever, and it would completely kill the other coins. So Monero, I still think it's good. I just don't think the price of it doesn't fluctuate enough for me to trade it. But in terms of a long-term hold, I'd be hesitant. I would personally be hesitant of it at the moment, but this isn't financial advice. I gotta say that. So let's see what else we got here. But yeah, Chris Rofan, I will make my own section. I'll get everything ready, because I'll pull up for the next live stream. I'll probably do that private cryptocurrency or anonymous cryptocurrency comparison between Monero and Verge. Well, I'll bring up both the white papers and I'll compare them both, and we'll get more in depth into like the technicals behind each coin, and try to figure out which one might have a better chance of surviving in the long term. But for now, we're going to be talking about more of centralized coins and what's going on in the news, because there's a lot of stuff to go over, and we got to see what's going to go on with this Bitcoin Gold to see what it does to the price too. Because if Bitcoin dips and the Bitcoin Gold price skyrockets, it'll be very telling of the current situation of the market. Because we also have the 2x SegWit coming up too, so a lot of stuff's happening. So let's see this. What's next? Okay, so we're done with Bitcoin Gold for now. We'll check in to this. Okay, we got 24 minutes, so let's move on to the next subject. Actually, let's check here. Does anyone have any questions? I'll be waiting here on the screen. So if anyone has any questions, let me know now regarding any of this. So anything regarding centralized coins, Ripple, Stellar, Bitcoin Gold, etc. We could talk about that for a second. Or if you guys have any questions regarding that, we could talk about that before we move on to a lot of fudders, Abu Dhabi stuff, American Express, MasterCard. Talk about what these credit card companies are doing right now. So yeah, we could move on to the next segment now. I think everyone's good. Yeah, for some reason too, guys. For some reason too, the chat, I don't have it implemented with the. You would see it up here above me, but for some reason it's not working. I gotta get that done. Hopefully by next live stream, all the technical difficulties are solved, so I could interact with the chat a lot more. But for now, let's move on to the next subject. And that would be... Okay, let's talk about Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban, this guy. Mark Cuban, for I think a couple of years now, has been absolutely shitting on Bitcoin and blockchain technology, calling it a fad bubble, etc., etc. But now he sees that there's value behind it, and he made this one called Unicorn, which is an esports token sale, which they raised apparently 31 million, a good amount of money. Not the biggest ICO of all time, but so Let's read this article. Esports betting startup Unicorn has raised roughly $31 million in initial coin offering. The firm collected 112,720 ethers, an amount worth approximately $31.4 million at press time, in a token sale that took place in 2 phases, including 56,000 ether, roughly $15.6 million, in a pre-sale backed by celebrity investor Mark Cuban. In an email, Rahul Sood, chief executive of Unicorn, said that the company had sourced contributions from 112 countries, characterizing them as mostly small purchasers. Once again, what does mostly small purchasers mean from these 112 countries? Basically means is people are going to buy this ICO, they're going to wait, they're going to pump, they're going to dump. So this is the ICO craze going on right now. It's going to continue to happen. Most people, they don't see the value that ICOs are startups to get money so they could launch their product based upon a blockchain. So they just want to take the money, they want to put it into Bitrex or any other ICO based or any other exchanges that support those ICOs, or at least launch them relatively close to when the token sale happened, and they'll just dump it. It happened to every single coin before. It's going to continue to happen. So we'll see how that turns out. So the ICO's completion also follows Unicorn's receipt of a gambling license in Malta, a significant boon for a company looking to apply the tech to electronic sports betting space. The idea is that Unicorn Gold, the token that was up for sale, will act as a common medium of exchange for bettors to use on the platform, which allows for placing wages on games like League of Legends, Defense Against the Ancients, Dota, and Counter-Strike, among others. Unicoin Gold is actually replacing a previous in-house virtual currency, dubbed Unicoins, that was used in conjunction with government-issued currencies on the site. The startup was founded in 2014 with backing from investors like Elizabeth Murdoch and Ashton Kutcher. According to Sood, the coming months will see the release of additional applications to build on the Unicoin framework, including tools that allow users to garner more tokens. Okay, we have plenty of applications that allow users to use and earn tokens. We will start to release them in November through February, he said. Okay. So Unicorn, Unicoin, and all these. What does it mean? What's the future of this type of gaming stuff? Esports has been growing rapidly. Very big. These games like League of Legends, Overwatch, whatever they are, right? And whichever ones are going to come in the future. They're getting more, I don't know. It's a very weird thing because this is being applied to esports, right? These are video games. So I don't know. I guess they're going to become more popular because as video gaming becomes more popular, and now ESPN is starting to show esports, which is pretty interesting. But this is not where the big money is. Once we see this, and I think, yeah, Mayweather's also making his own ICO regarding sports betting. So I wonder if this system works with esports. I think Mark Cuban was in it to translate this stuff to regular sports too, and that's where the biggest money is going to be at too. Because imagine placing bets on a huge boxing fight or UFC fight in these coins instead. But that's where the legality of gambling comes into play, and government regulation. But the seeds have been planted for this type of stuff to happen. So we'll see which one comes up on top. But but for my knowledge, it seems like Unicorn will do well in the longer term as of right now. Because one thing I always say about cryptocurrencies, the news change every day. I can make short-term, medium, long-term assumptions of where the coins are going to go. But if something comes up in the hour, it can completely change that stance. The only big thing I see with... Do I think this is going to be the biggest coin in the world? No. There's other blockchain-based coins that I think are going to be bigger for the global economy. But the biggest problem with this one is probably going to be another pump and dump. Whenever this happens was... when did this guy, Sood, say, the coming months we'll see the release of additional applications built on the Ucoin framework? Okay, and we have plenty of applications that allow users to use and earn tokens. We will start to release them in November through February. So November through February, that's November, December, January, February. That's like, it's 4 months. You know, that's a long time. This, are they gonna send it all at once? I feel like they have to send it all at once. That's not really, that was kind of like a vague statement in my opinion. But regardless, when they come out, people are gonna take them. They're gonna dump them. It's gonna happen. But who knows? Maybe the ICO craze is, it may be winding down at that time due to government regulation or something. But yeah, interesting article. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, give me a second here, guys. Okay, Saudi Prince Al Walid, Bitcoin is going to implode. Oh, of course it's a Saudi prince, right? Jeez. Saudi Prince Al Walid bin Talal sharply criticized Bitcoin during an appearance on CNBC today, saying that he agrees with JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon's assessment that the cryptocurrency is a fraud. Okay, you know, I'm not even going to read the rest of this article. I can already tell you what's going to go on with this. Basically, a Saudi puppet, you know, they're colluding with the West. They're fudding Bitcoin. That's all it is. I'm not gonna go too deep into this. I already explained my position before in this video of like how the West views Bitcoin. So yeah, it's not surprising whatsoever. Even though if you've been looking at Saudi Arabia has been moving east by doing stuff with China, starting to trade oil in yuan. That's yuan, and also that's also the settlements are done in gold. That's why I've been reading. So that's huge for China. That's huge for Saudi Arabia because it shows it's the end of an era with a petrodollar. But still, I guess they're still colluding with the West. That's the only thing I could say regarding that. And this is just, it's common sense for this topic. So let's move on to the next one. Okay, how long have we been on live for, guys? Let's see here. Okay. Ether price hits 1 month low below 280. Okay, yeah, we know that. There's been a lot of reasons why Ethereum has not been performing as well as it should. Okay, here's the thing with Ethereum. The value to me of Ethereum is not in Ether. It's in the tokens that were built for Ethereum. So it's like viewing things like, I think I heard this from another person speaking. It's Ethereum is the mall, and the tokens for Ethereum are like the stores in the mall. So basically, it's like the mall, yeah, it makes money. It's hosting all these stores, but there's one very luxurious store that they make a shit ton of money. Then it would make sense that that store would be worth a lot more than the actual mall itself, if that makes sense. So yeah, Ethereum will pick up in the future because it already established itself as like the king of smart contracts at the moment. But that will change because what Ethereum has to do is provide proof of stake. So once they do that, then they're set. You know, if they could provide proof of stake, then they're golden, really, because it really gets Ethereum past that point. It gets Ethereum past that point of, what's the best word for anxiety? Because there's a lot of anxiety with Ethereum, if I could view it as like a psychological thing, because you first have, okay, like we see on the right here, right, on if you see this one poll that CoinDesk is running, who should be the most fearful after the SEC's DAO token sale ruling? issuers, investors, exchanges, nobody, very unactionable, right? You can see, I think it's right here. It should be right here if you guys see it. So the SEC, we all know them. They're getting very involved with this ICO thing. The PBOC, the Public Bank, the People's Bank of China, very into the ICO. They've been regulating the hell out of it. So the DAO basically was last summer, while Ethereum was trying to fork, or when Ethereum, there was a token sale for the DAO, which is decentralized application. I forgot exactly what the term stands for, but basically it was a token sale, and basically there was an exploit and it got hacked. So basically what Ethereum had to do is go through multiple forks to save itself, but it created a lot of disillusion with its investors, because it should not get to that point at all, you know, because literally the Ethereum Foundation and others were literally freaking out about the DAO. So now the SEC wants to get involved, and they're like, who's to blame for this, right? Is it the issuers? Is it investors? Is it exchanges? Or is it nobody? It really is nobody. You really can't control that. So, and it's kind of like, should the SEC get involved? You know, like, they're not really. This is a global thing. That's the thing with all cryptos, right? The reason why, like, it's just very hard to give things terms is because there's never been an asset like this ever on the planet. Yeah, it has characteristics of currency, especially Bitcoin, but Ethereum, yeah, it has Ether, but it's really more of an ecosystem. But does that make it a commodity? Because there's a limited amount that can be created. So the actual definitions of these terms, or the way that we label them, has to drastically change, because there are organizations getting involved that really they should not be involved with, or if we should regulate them, then there should be newer entities that are built for these brand new assets that are coming into play. But yeah, but basically from this DAO token sale that happened, it got hacked, and now the SEC wants to get involved, and I just don't think it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna happen. But yeah, this is another reason why that Ethereum is not gonna go up higher, is because of this ICO crackdown. Because a lot of these ICOs are Ethereum token ICOs, so these tokens are built for the Ethereum platform. So, and that's a lot of them now. A lot of these tokens are built for the Ethereum platform. So basically, what that means is, if the ICOs are being cracked down by government regulation, then that means Ethereum, essentially, a major part of Ethereum, or what its function is for, is being cracked down by the SEC and other entities. That's the reason why Ethereum can't go up to its $1,000 price point, which I think it should be at. It should be at $1,000 currently, but it's not, because of this government baggage that's on its back right now. But that should be, I think that's going to be resolved. It has to be resolved pretty soon. Especially if once it provides proof of stake and it goes through the Serenity fork, then once that happens, then Ether will really skyrocket. Yeah, so Ether going all, hey, it's on a 1 month low, right? So what does that mean? Buy the fucking dip. So that's my viewpoint on it. So let's move on to the next topic. Let's see, anyone else make a comment here? Nope. Okay. Same thing, the Stellar article, we've already gone over Stellar. Okay, we've already gone that. Okay, Abu Dhabi admits 4 blockchain startups to fintech sandbox. The Abu Dhabi Global Market, ADGM, the city's international finance free zone within the UAE, has admitted a second batch of fintech startups to its regulatory laboratory, RegLab. With the move, the 11 local international fintech firms will work under the framework of the Financial Services Regulatory Authority, FSRA, one of these 3 independent authorities of the ADGM, to develop and test their products within a controlled sandbox environment. The latest batch of startups, including blockchain firms Equichain and OKLink, both based in the UK, UAE pass PYPPL, and Canadian firm Remit R, were selected from over 20 applications from various countries, according to the press release. Richard Tang, CEO of FSRA, said that the second phase was encouraged by overwhelming positive response from the global fintech industry in the first year of RegLab program. He continued, "We are already seeing some great results from the first cohort and are looking forward to seeing results from the second, which include fascinating projects such as an initial coin offering and blockchain-enabled payments, settlements, and reg tech solutions, among others." With a total of 16 startups now within RegLab, including 5 from the first batch, ADGM said it is seeking to expand its team to better serve the financial services industry and the country's economy. I think they're going like with Abu Dhabi, and I think a lot of these other very wealthy Arab areas and the people that live within them. I think this is overkill a little bit. They have a lot of different blockchain companies, which could be good for their own, global, for their own business globally, right? Because they're including a lot of different of these companies. They're trying to get involved with Canada, UK, etc., etc. But at the end of the day, there's going to come to a point that these blockchains, right? There's going to be so many different blockchains of different things that it doesn't really make sense to put them on such separate different things. It's gotta, all these blockchains, there's gonna come a time they're basically gonna be, it's gonna become oversaturated, and there's gonna be no point to it, and people are gonna see that, and things will naturally simplify. So right now you have this crazy mania because of the internet, because we live in an internet age, a postmodern age. We live in mania, basically. So everyone's trying to get on it, right? Abu Dhabi, you saw TEPCO from Japan. You saw a lot of different companies from all around the world adopting blockchain. But it's going to come to the point that, hey, maybe we don't all need our own blockchain for the same thing. Maybe we could just use one for smart contracts or a certain type of smart contract, and another one for a different type of smart contract system. So you have Factum, Stratus, this and that, but these people are just trying to do, but these are just basically very niche use cases, which might be good for short term, but for long term it might not be as good. But this also proves that this blockchain technology is here to stay. So next topic. Okay, I think we talked about the Gates Foundation a little bit earlier. Gates Foundation, very similarly with other Western entities, they like it. You know, they like blockchain, or whatever their version of blockchain is, or crocchain or whatever. And yeah, I'm not gonna bother reading this article because they're basically going to say, from what I've read from previous articles with Gates Foundation, they're only liking it because they can record all their information. That's basically it. They don't find the value of other blockchain based or other positives that real blockchain has. They're only using this because it's a glorified digital ledger. Okay, this is where it gets interesting. American Express eyes blockchain for customer reward system. This has more immediate effects now for centralized fiat currencies, because this could be a gate. This could also be a gateway for using cards with crypto. Okay, the travel and merchant arm of American Express may be weighing the use of blockchain within a personalized customer reward system, public filings show. A new patent application published last week by the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office details a concept for offering customer-specific types of rewards, including points and virtual currency or specific items tied to a product. The filing indicates that the financial giant would make these offers by compiling personalized data about the customer, such as their historic spending patterns. Okay, that's scary, but yeah, they already do that. Even I swear, even if I talk to some of my friends or family about a certain thing that I want, or I need, maybe I need a new coffee machine, for instance, right? I'll go on my phone and I'll see a coffee machine. So this type of tech's been around, but this is where these these financial companies, right? American Express, all these other entities, they want your personal info. They want to see your spending patterns because they have algorithms that could necessitate or that could differentiate what you are most likely to buy at that point. And this is a scary thing. This is very scary because we live in the age of algorithms. Everything is an algorithm nowadays. Same thing with also there's like the gaming industry with Activision patents, and also I forgot this company, not decentralized. Fuck, I just had the name. Regardless, there's these companies now that literally are their purpose is to take patterns, human behavioral patterns on their phone, and to create a product that would make them most likely to buy that product at that point and reuse that information to make you buy more and more and more and more and more. And this is a scary type with blockchain, right? Because once again, like I said before, there's two types of chains that I like to call them: real blockchain and the centralized blockchain, or I call it crock chain. So the crock chain, their number one usage for these entities is that they could know all your transaction history. They could figure out patterns and use these algorithms to basically make you an ultimate or basically a repetitive consumer to such a point that they can maximize how much money they make off of you. So these several different qualities make it very attractive for this type of ledger to be adopted by these institutions. So yeah, that's the scary part about all of this too, because at the end of the day, you can't blame it. Like, you can't blame other things like guns and stuff like that. It's a tool. Blockchain is a tool. It could be used for good. It could be used for bad. But I think my personal belief is that the human will could express itself in such a way with blockchain that there's no way that could be fully controlled, because at the end of the day, it's economic. And you're giving basically energy and power and money to the everyday people in the long term. So let's read this next paragraph. The blockchain structure may include a distributed database that maintains a growing list. There you go. Maintains a growing list of data records. The blockchain may provide enhanced security because each block may hold individual transactions and the results of any blockchain executables. Each block may contain a timestamp and a link to a previous block. That the firm would move to seek intellectual property claims around uses of the tech is perhaps unsurprising, given the interest around it by some of the credit cards providers' competitors. American Express is currently a member of the Hyperledger blockchain consortium. Hyperledger, definitely a topic we're gonna go into in future videos. When it joined in January, the company suggested that it would look to blockchain as a way to potentially rework its current services. We're excited to join Hyperledger as we're looking to take full advantage of blockchain to deliver new and innovative products for our customers and partners while transforming existing business processes and applications, Amex Chief Information Officer Mark Gordon said at the time. Yeah, so this is misdirection. You know, it's not blockchain. It's basically like I said before, a glorified digital ledger, and yeah, they're happy about it. Why wouldn't they be happy about it? It just makes them more powerful. But once again, who needs this stuff if you are the bank? And that's what cryptocurrencies, that's where their initial function was supposed to be. So why do you need all this if you could become your own bank? Okay, let's see. Anyone have any questions? Let's check this. Oh. Okay. Okay, money at risk. Mobile wallets become battleground and Bitcoin fork debate. Okay, basically this is the same topic. I should have said this before, but basically means are you gonna get your forked coins in these mobile wallets, or are they gonna support the SegWit 2x, etc., etc.? We went over this. Next topic. Actually, let's check in with the Bitcoin Gold because it must have launched by now. It's fork time. Okay, yeah, it's done. Oh, we're well past. 491,369. Okay, let's restart this. Then we'll check the price of Bitcoin, see where it's going right now. Okay, so I guess it happened already. Interesting. Okay, so let's check what's the price of Bitcoin right now. Yeah, 5,900. Okay, so it did go up a little bit while Ethereum's still getting hit. Okay, let's move on to the next topic. Okay, so from where we were just at American Express, let's talk about MasterCard now. MasterCard expands access to the B2B blockchain payment tools. Credit card giant MasterCard is pushing ahead with a set of blockchain payment tools first unveiled last year, opening them up to banks and merchants for wider use. In a press release, the company announced today that it would first be working on business-to-business B2B transactions with the tech as part of a bid to address challenges of speed, transparency, and cost in cross-border payments. MasterCard first revealed its blockchain work in October 2016, releasing systems aimed at smart contracts and payment settlement processes. At the time, blockchain lead Justin Pinkham said the company was looking for collaborators to work with the company's platform. Now, MasterCard is encouraging other firms to begin settling transactions through its blockchain APIs, which it says can ease some of the friction experienced during cross-border payment processes. Ken Moore, MasterCard Labs Executive Vice President, said in a statement, "By combining MasterCard blockchain technology with our settlement network and associated network rules, we have created a solution that is safe, secure, auditable, and easy to scale." The company said it intends to combine its blockchain APIs with other services to allow partners to develop their own use cases and create unique transaction types. Further, MasterCard also highlighted its efforts to seek intellectual property rights around its uses of the tech, as well as its work with the enterprise Ethereum Alliance on use cases well outside the scope of MasterCard's traditional payment environments. For example, a recently released patent application, the company indicated it was looking into a uniform payment settlement system, one that could utilize blockchain as a vehicle for business-to-business payments. Oh, disclosure, MasterCard is an investor in the digital currency group CoinDesk parent company. Yeah, so Visa, MasterCard, Amex, these companies have been recently in the game. And yeah, they're getting smart contracts, but this is what I say, right? Ethereum, right? Ethereum could be yeah, their main focus is like smart contracts too, right? Because Ethereum, once it moves to proof of stake, like I said before, smart contracts will be a lot better and secure for the long term. But yeah, MasterCard wants to get their skin. They want to go all in on this. It looks like with the B2B transaction tech. So, but this is my thing, right? Why would I want to go through MasterCard for smart contracts, right? Regardless of the actual focus of the card, but smart contracts. If there are other decentralized alternatives coming in the way, because this is the problem with these cryptos, right? You have these tech, right? They're saying they're the next big thing. Then someone else comes around with a new protocol and throws a pie in your face. It's a very interesting thing. And this is the thing with the internet. New things are made every day and things are outdated every day. But it looks like I would never go through a smart contract through MasterCard. Why would I? I would rather just, personally for me, I'd rather go through decentralized means of doing it. There's no point, once again, there's no point of having these institutions laying their hands in it. Where the only thing that they have is that they'll be compliant with government regulation because of the auditing. That's number one thing that I could see that is valuable in this. But even with that, we know in the current system that auditing is, it's kind of non-existent for a lot of companies, you know, because they have so much power. So I'd rather go through decentralized means of doing it. But yeah, it says also they're working with the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, which is not the which is one of the Ethereum groups. So they're probably getting just like some information, right? So like, we need help. We're old. We're part of the old system. We need help to move into the new system, which is crypto world, right? And yeah, so sorry about so MasterCard, right? So MasterCard, they're part of the old system. They want to transfer into the new crypto world system. They need help. They ask for the Ethereum Alliance for help, that they need special for special use cases, that they need their help to transfer their systems into the new system. But the problem is, why do you need to transfer a new system? We don't need your old system anymore, and it's completely centralized. We're going to move on to decentralization. So I don't think this will work for the long term. Once again, the West and the Western institutions are running their systems parallel. They're trying to absorb cryptos and all of its power, right? So smart contracts, ecosystems, currency applications, blockchain-based decentralized applications, they're trying to absorb them into their already existing giants. But the problem is, it's like a battery getting charged with such a high voltage, or whatever ampage, whatever technical terms you want to say, and it blows up because it cannot contain all this constant information and wealth being created and human logistics moving fluid, because it's not moving fluid right now. Our global economic system is very stagnant, so they're trying to pump more and more into to keep it afloat. But they're gonna bite off more than they could chew, and it's gonna fire back at them so quickly. That's just my opinion about it too. So that's why I believe the East approach to it is way more wise. One company I like what they're doing is 10x. The problem with 10x is I think they're only in Asia right now. They had some test case in Europe, but I think that got retracted because of regulations, and they wanna have it available in the US, but there's too much government overhead right now that they cannot launch it, because basically what that means is Bitcoin will be competing with the US dollar at that point. So, and yeah, that's a big no-no for government. So yeah, but 10x basically what it does is you could spend your cryptocurrency as fiat, and they give you a Visa card, and you have an app. So you swipe your card or you scan it with the chip, and you pull out your phone, and it says, you want to make this transaction on your phone? You're like, yes, and it'll spend your Ether at places that accept Visa, which is awesome. But because it's a great segue for consumers and regular everyday people to use cryptocurrencies day to day. And I would love to go completely in that route, so I can never use a bank ever again. That's my goal. So yeah, MasterCard, Amex, Visa, everyone's having they're all trying to get in the blockchain. Not going to work for the long term, in my opinion. So let's move on to the next topic. Okay, this is fun. I saw this earlier. I read the comic. It's Dilbert's comic, Blockchain Mania. I forgot who the author is. This guy, yeah, Scott Adams, right? So let's read this comment. This should be pretty fun. What, does anyone else have topics before we go on? Yeah, if you guys have any questions, now's a good time to ask it too, because we went over all the main points at the moment, and at this point, I'll just be talking a little bit more about Bitcoin Gold and just other random articles I have pulled up here. So yeah, let's read this for now. Okay, maybe we should do an initial coin offering, or ICO. What's that? It's a non-equity process for raising a capital that uses a custom cryptocurrency on the blockchain. I might be wasting my time here. So it's a chain made out of coins. Okay, so basically this is making fun of people that have no idea what the heck's happening. Yeah, I don't know. I never liked, there's some smaller newspaper-based comics I like. Yeah, it's kind of funny, but let's move on to the next one. This would be a perfect application for blockchain. I'm in marketing. Can you explain that in terms I can understand? I kind of doubt it, because you're a bad explainer, right? Yeah, this is kind of making fun of people too, because it's like, it's kind of like making fun, like, because like all these terms come out for blockchain and cryptocurrencies and stuff too. It's such a new field, and terms are being created every day for this stuff too. So I could see in the author of Dilbert, he's just trying to reflect that in his comics. But yeah. Nothing too crazy. Once again, CoinDesk, it's a slow news day, and they probably actually, yeah, it's kind of a slow news day overall. Besides Bitcoin, gold, that's the main topic for the day. So yeah, this is pretty funny. So let's move on to the next one. Bitcoin price lingers below 6,000 as post-fork altcoin rally expected. Okay. Yeah, this happens every single time, you know. Bitcoin, they're going to go through another fork. It's going to dip, then it's going to skyrocket with the altcoins. Nothing too crazy here. Yeah, I've always seen from Cointelegraph. Okay, so the two main news points I get are three news points, right? For my own view, just to let the listeners know, I view things on a very macro scale. So I view things like geopolitical events, because what happened with China recently with their People's Congress, or not even the People's Congress, with Xi Jinping when he made that 3-hour speech. I view things very macro, on a macro scale. So that's just my background. So you can see that bias within me, because I view things very macro based. So if I say anything that you're like, all right, maybe bring it down to more of a micro level, which I try to put that, I try to approach things that way also, but sometimes it slips, because my brain's wired to a certain way. So yeah, Bitcoin price lingers below 6K as post-fork altcoin rally expected. Yeah, so yeah, I think it's going to go back up. I think we're going to see 7K within a month and a half for sure. For sure, it's going to go up higher. We're going to reach 10K within a year, in my opinion. There's no doubt of that in my mind. Especially, I think spring. Spring is going to be a big time. Spring and summer too, because I think at that time, because the thing is, Russia would not announce a crypto ruble, their crypto ruble, without the crypto yuan, the Chinese yuan, being that far behind. So yeah, so, and once again, they're running their systems parallel to Bitcoin rather than absorbing it like the West too. So Bitcoin will go up, the crypto ruble will probably be given out by within the next 6 months or so, hopefully, because once the crypto ruble hits the market too, that will be interesting, because it's the first real big national cryptocurrency, and it will be pretty interesting to see how that trades too, especially if the rumors are true. If the rumors are true that the crypto ruble is going to be backed by gold, game changing. Because even though gold overall, most people say, oh, you know, gold's not as big of a thing as before, it's still backed by a commodity. Even if you want to view it as like gold being like this, the most precious thing in the world, which I do like gold. Like, I'm not one of these crypto guys. I think gold is useless. Gold has its place because history, because I believe things of old value. Because why did our ancestors think that gold was so valuable? It's because time or resources were needed in order to mine it. It was literally the physical manifestation of human energy. So yeah, and that's the wisdom behind it, and that's why Bitcoin is where it is today, because of that wisdom. So yeah, this is basically oh yeah, but basically I was saying about Cointelegraph, which I completely sidetracked from that, because when I'm talking a lot about cryptocurrencies, this is my first live stream. So as I keep doing this more and more, I can make things more narrow, so it's easier for people to consume the information. But the thing with cryptocurrency is easy to sidetrack, because there's so many different events happening from so many different areas, because you have East, West, fiat, crypto, individual nations, specific corporations, and there's so much stuff happening all the time that's very difficult to keep things together and getting a good, clear picture of what's happening and what's transpiring in the near future. So yeah, that's that. Okay, we're done with the news. Actually, let's see. Let's go back on CoinDesk, see if there's any other articles I missed, and I'll check the chat to see if anyone had any questions. Nope. Okay, so give it a second to load up CoinDesk. It's pretty slow because I have OBS running, which is the broadcasting software. So let's see here. We got 4 people watching. Nice. Wow, Bitcoin just dropped again. Okay, 5,600. Wow, but Ethereum just went up. Okay, so that means that's not okay. That's fear right now. That's a lot of fear going on right now. If Ethereum made a move that high, a move back up to 300 in this short period of time. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so CoinDesk ran the new article about the hard fork. Let's see what their views on it are. Okay, new cryptocurrency has been created through a hard fork of the Bitcoin blockchain. Completing the process that began in July, the Bitcoin Gold technical team has taken what it calls a snapshot of the Bitcoin blockchain so it could be recreated and reconfigured with new rules. Ultimately, creating Bitcoin Gold at block 491,407 on the original blockchain. As of now, the process underway by which new Bitcoin cryptocurrency will be completed and released to existing Bitcoin users. Okay, so this is what I was talking about before. As profiled in our explainer, the project aims to tackle the perceived problem that miners as a group have too much influence over the direction of Bitcoin network. To lessen their control, Bitcoin Gold replaces Bitcoin's current mining algorithm with one of their cheaper graphics processing units GPUs are able to mine. So yeah, as Bitcoin gets more developed, it's going to take a lot more powerful computers and also a lot more computers to mine just as much of Bitcoin. But who are these institutions now mining the Bitcoin? It's got to be big government corporations, government must be mining it. Big corporations are mining it. A lot of people in China and Russia are mining it. You know, you have these crazy things like in Iceland now, they're trying to use geothermal to mine it. So only the big players right now can mine Bitcoin. So what that means is only the big players could also could steer where Bitcoin is going, because they have majority of the mining, so they have majority of the power where it's going to go. But isn't that kind of like gold too, right? So most people, if you find a good gold mine, right? If you find a gold mine and you and your fellow peers, right, mine a lot of the gold and use that gold to buy bigger equipment to mine more with, then, you know, of course you're going to have more of the wealth that's going to come in. But yeah, this seems like a really cool, it seems like a cool alternative for people to find. So if you have a weaker GPU, you could mine Bitcoin Gold, which could be kind of cool. But once again, it's really good that they're not saying this is competing with Bitcoin, because if they said this was competing with Bitcoin, it would be destroyed immediately, because Bitcoin Cash has more strength over this for different reasons. But Bitcoin Cash announced that they're kind of alluding that they're like the real Bitcoin. So next paragraph, the idea stems from the competitive nature of Bitcoin mining, which now relies solely on expensive application-specific integrated circuits, ASICs. In part because of this, mining has centralized into the hands of large mining companies, okay, like I said in the previous paragraph, which Bitcoin Gold supporters feel works against Bitcoin's key value proposition, decentralization. Okay, but this is the problem with this mentality. It's like, okay, we're not happy, right? Bitcoin from the beginning was easy to mine, right? Because there wasn't that many coins. But now, because we've mined more than half of the coins, right? So now only the people that have a lot of money can mine Bitcoin. So let's make Bitcoin Gold, right? So what happens more in the future that when the same thing happens with Bitcoin Gold? Are we going to make Bitcoin Gold 2 or whatever that new Bitcoin is going to be? Because now Bitcoin Gold and Bitcoin are impossible for people to mine. So you're going to keep repeating this process over and over and over again, which is basically another wave of inflation. So every time you make a new blockchain, does that mean that blockchain that's going to be made new, that's going to accommodate for this problem, it's going to be worth less and less money? So it's interesting, but it's a very slippery slope, because Bitcoin was supposed to solve the inflation problem. That was one of the biggest it's one of the biggest qualities that were phenomenal. And other cryptocurrencies did not do as well because they're clones of Bitcoin. So what's the point? You know, Bitcoin is the gold standard. So they're trying to replicate that with another gold standard, even though they're not trying to say it competes with Bitcoin. But basically, it's just in the future you're going to run into the same problem, you know? And what's the point? Because Bitcoin could go back eight decimal points back. So it could be broken down so you could buy 0.00000001 unit of a Bitcoin, which most people probably could afford that, you know? So this is very interesting, but I don't know. I don't think it probably won't last in the long term. But once again, I think this is gonna be dumped hard when it comes out, like everything that comes out in this space. That's my major suspicion with Bitcoin Gold, from what they said here. But as long as they say it doesn't compete with Bitcoin, then you know what, we probably will avoid a lot of problems. Okay. Yeah, give me a second here. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so that's our last article. At this point, I'm kind of oh wow. Okay, so yeah, 5,600. So we're at the end of the actual news segment area. We're gonna start live streaming trades hopefully within the next week or two. And I'm gonna show us a couple basic techniques, and I'm gonna be live trading I'm gonna be live trading on YouTube. So if you guys want to check in for that, that'll be a cool little experience too, because I'll be doing that alongside with reading news and looking at ICOs and stuff. But right now, there's not much of ICOs I really want to talk about. Maybe next episode, maybe next live stream, I'll be focusing more on ICOs specifically. We'll go more into the DAO. I'll go into Monero, Verge, the private Bitcoin, the private cryptocurrencies, and we'll also talk about what was that called? Tezos scandal, basically. That's such a complete shit show, the Tezos, that deserves like a half an hour on its own. But as of right now, if there's any other cryptocurrencies you guys want to talk about really quickly, now's the time. You guys could say in the chat, and I'll be happy to answer some questions before we close this thing out. I'll give it like a couple minutes. Okay, I think this is good for now, guys. Okay, I thank everyone for tuning in for the first Major League Crypto live stream. For next live stream, like I said before, we're gonna be going over different topics. We're gonna be going over ICOs, Monero, Verge, IDO, opinion on EOS and its ability to compete with Ether. Okay, so thanks for coming to the chat, IDO. The thing with EOS in particular, they had a problem regarding their wallet. EOS is decent. My whole thing with EOS is that they had a problem with their wallet because I think there was a couple of MIT students that found a vulnerability in they actually hacked into wallets of EOS. If I'm not mistaken, this was, let me see, let me pull this up really quickly for you. Okay. Yeah, so apparently EOS, what happened with EOS, let me pull this article. EOS hack. They didn't get hacked, but MIT students apparently found a vulnerability. So they had to shut down everyone's wallet while they did the update. yeah, so basically my main thing with EOS is I'm not sure, because one of my good family friends owns EOS, and he told me that that his wallet was locked for a couple of days regarding because apparently it was MIT, I believe it was MIT, like I said before, MIT students worked with the EOS founder to see if there's any vulnerabilities, and they found a very big vulnerability. So I believe that's been ironed out. If that is ironed out, then it's very good for EOS. But once again, it's a smart contract competitor, and there's a lot of people in the realm of smart contracting. And EOS has a competitor with also Neo. So it's EOS, Neo, and Ethereum. But the thing is, EOS just does not have the big backing that Ethereum does. And that's my biggest thing with EOS. EOS could do well in very good niche cases right now, and we're going to see more about the development or what's going to transpire in the next couple of months with EOS. But for me, it seems like Western institutions, so Western banking, or not Western banking, Western companies and like things like Microsoft, they like Ethereum a lot, you know, for me. And for me, it's like these companies, if they like that, it's bullish. And for Neo, which is basically the Chinese competitor to Ethereum, to me is also a safer bet than EOS at the moment, because they have backing from Chinese companies. So yeah, that's my opinion on EOS right now. I'll look more into the hack, and I'll give an update about it in the next live stream. And I'll be live streaming tomorrow also around also at the same time, which is 8 p.m. Central. So yeah, if there's any other questions, feel free to ask now. And I'll make a note about that, Ido. So if you're going to come in next chat and I see you in the chat, I'll look more into EOS for you. So yeah, this is the ICO, just to make a quick thing also. This is the ICO alert, which tells you all the recent ICOs over here. And these are the active and upcoming ICOs that are coming down. As you can see, there are so many ICOs coming out. There's going to be over, I think there's 1,000 going to come out next year. And you know how many things you have to look into to find that? So you have ones for real estate. It's getting crazy at this point. And it's a very fun time to be in cryptocurrency. All right, thanks. Hey, thanks for the subscription, Ido. I'm very happy that you're here. And yeah, I'll look in more into EOS for you, and I'll also do some comparisons with Ethereum and Neo then. Yeah, so, and we'll be going over more ICOs too, because also I want to do another segment strictly on smart contracts too, because smart contracts is a huge segment of cryptos and cryptocurrencies that are just not as advertised or marketed to people in the space as it should be, because that's going to be the big thing in business, is going to be smart contracts too, because it removes the middleman in almost every type of business. So if you remove the middleman, that's more profit for people that want to make money for their companies, for their hard work, and it also minimizes fraud. So that could be a great thing for, if EOS could get into that market in their own way, that could be good for them. But I'll look more specifically in the EOS for you too. So yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it off there. I thank everyone for being part of this for this live stream, and yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.